Many people know Roselle through ruby red hibiscus tea, Mexican-style agua fresca, or herbal drinks sold in organic stores. But if you only see Roselle as a plant for making tea, you are missing the most interesting part of it. In a backyard garden, Roselle does not behave like an ordinary vegetable plant. It grows very quickly during the hot season, standing out with its tall stems, broad leaves, and bright red calyxes that almost make it look like a true tropical plant. Interestingly, many people first grow Roselle simply because they are curious about its beautiful red color. But after one season, they begin to notice that their garden feels different from the surrounding gardens. The area around the plant seems cooler, more insects start visiting, and every time they prune the plant, it creates additional material that becomes useful for the soil. So, what is a Roselle plant actually doing inside a garden? And why are so many American gardeners becoming interested in it? What kind of plant is Roselle? Before talking about how Roselle can help a garden, it is important to understand what this plant really is. Roselle, or Hibiscus sabdarifa, belongs to the same family as ornamental hibiscus. But unlike decorative hibiscus, it is an edible tropical plant. The bright red part that many people mistake for petals is actually the calyx, the fleshy outer layer that swells after the flower blooms. This is the part commonly used for hibiscus tea, syrup, jam, concentrate, or fermented drinks, with a tart flavor similar to cranberry. Roselle is a plant that prefers strong sunlight, well-draining soil, and a long growing season. In the United States, it grows best in USDA zones 8 to 11, especially in southern states and warmer climates. The plant usually needs around 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day, slightly acidic to neutral soil, with a pH of around 6.0 to 7.0, and enough space because a mature plant can reach about 4 to 7 feet tall. What makes Roselle especially interesting is that it does not only produce red calyxes for harvest. During a few hot summer months, it also creates a large amount of leaves, stems, and pruning material. When used correctly, this material can become mulch, compost, and a source of organic matter that goes back into feeding the soil around the plant. Roselle as a mulch-making machine for the garden. Many beginner gardeners usually ask only one thing: what fruit does this plant produce? Which part is edible? How much can I harvest? But for many American homestead gardeners, a plant also becomes valuable if it helps the garden rely less on materials bought from outside. Roselle is a very easy example of that. During summer, the plant grows quickly, producing many broad leaves and soft branches. After only about 2 to 3 months, a healthy Roselle plant can grow taller than knee height, sometimes nearly as tall as a person if it receives enough sunlight and good soil. Once the canopy becomes too dense, gardeners often trim older leaves and side branches to improve airflow. The interesting part is that those cuttings are not thrown away. Instead, they are spread directly onto the soil around tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, or raised beds as a thin mulch layer. This layer of Roselle leaves works almost like a blanket protecting the soil. In hot states like Texas or Florida, bare soil under summer sun can exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit, causing water to evaporate very quickly after watering. But when the soil is covered with Roselle leaves, the ground stays cooler, moisture lasts longer, and weeds struggle to grow because they no longer receive enough direct sunlight. After a few weeks, the leaves begin to soften, slowly decompose, and eventually become organic matter returning to the soil. Roselle does not only give you red calyxes to harvest, it continuously produces mulch material directly inside the garden, almost like growing a plant that provides both drinks and its own soil covering system for an entire garden corner. Roselle as a stopping point for bees, butterflies, and beneficial insects. Once Roselle becomes fully established, its value is no longer only about the leaves or red calyxes. What becomes more noticeable is how the area around the plant starts showing more biological activity. When Roselle begins flowering, its large, bright blossoms can attract honeybees, bumblebees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. In an American backyard garden, this is an important sign because a healthy garden is not simply a place with green plants. It is a place where pollination, natural predation, and many small biological interactions are constantly happening. Technically, Roselle needs around 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to flower well. Once the plant reaches around 4 to 7 feet tall with a spread of about 3 to 5 feet, it can become a noticeable focal point in the garden, almost like a stopping point for pollinators. Many people think reducing pests means spraying stronger chemicals, but sometimes the real problem is that the garden has become biologically poor. Too few flowers and too few beneficial insects, allowing pests such as aphids, whiteflies, or caterpillars to multiply without natural balance. Roselle is not a pesticide. However, by attracting more bees, butterflies, ladybugs, lacewings, and parasitic wasps into the area, the garden gains another layer of natural balance. Ladybugs and lacewings can feed on soft-bodied aphids, while some tiny parasitic wasps help naturally suppress caterpillar populations. That is why Roselle fits very well into American-style bee gardens, tropical pollinator gardens, or edible flower gardens. It is beautiful, edible, and helps bring more biological activity into the garden instead of relying entirely on chemical sprays. Method 3. Treat aphids. As mentioned earlier, ants and aphids have a very special relationship. Many times ants are not climbing onto plants because they want to eat the plants, but because there are aphids, mealybugs, or whiteflies on the plant producing sweet honeydew. This is the real food source again and again. 1. So if you see a lot of ants crawling around tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, beans, leafy greens, basil, or young ornamental plants, look closely at the young shoots and the undersides of the leaves. Aphids often gather in small clusters and may appear light green, black, white, or yellowish-brown. Leaves affected by aphids are often or slow-growing. 2 plus Hu-ung. The simplest way to deal with them is to spray the undersides of the leaves with water in the morning. The water pressure should be strong enough to knock the aphids off, but not so strong that it breaks the young leaves. For small plants, you can use a hand spray bottle and spray the undersides of the leaves thoroughly for 2 to 3 days in a row. Video. Overly dense leaves near the base, so the plant has better airflow. Video, that's 7. For tomatoes and peppers, do not let the foliage become so dense that it touches the soil surface, because that area is damp, enclosed, and can easily become a hiding place for both aphids and ants. 3. One mistake: applying too much nitrogen fertilizer. When a plant produces too many soft young leaves, aphids often appear more strongly. So fertilize in a more balanced way, keep the garden airy, 4, and you can also plant basil, green onions, near the vegetable bed to increase biodiversity. When aphids decrease, the honeydew source disappears, and the number of ants usually drops very noticeably as well. Method 4. Diatomaceous earth/a dry zone around pots. The fourth method is to create a dry zone around pots or along the edge of garden beds. This works especially well for small vegetable gardens, balconies, patios, or places where ants often grow the ground up into potted plants. 1. Ants like stable pathways, slightly dark, slightly damp, rarely disturbed. So if there are damp, dead leaves around a pot, mulch pressed right against the plant stem, or small gaps under the pot, ants can easily turn that area into a fixed travel route. 2. You can use food-grade diatomaceous earth, dry sand, or small gravel to create a dry ring around the base of the pot. With diatomaceous earth, you only need to sprinkle a very thin layer, about 2 to 3 centimeters wide, around the pot edge or where ants often pass. There is no need to apply it thickly, because a thick layer can clump when it gets wet. Video that if you use dry sand or small gravel, you can create a strip about 5 to 10 centimeters wide around the pot base or the edge of the bed. The goal is to make the ants' path dry, hot, and uncomfortable, so they reduce activity or change routes. But here is a very important note. Diatomaceous earth only works well when it stays dry. After rain, heavy watering, or long periods of high humidity, its effect drops noticeably. At that point, let the area dry out first, then reapply a small amount. 4. Also, do not place mulch right against the plant stem. About 5 to 8 centimeters from the base, especially for tomatoes, peppers, herbs, and seedlings. A more open plant base is less likely to become a hiding place for ants and harmful insects. Are missing the most interesting part of it. In a backyard garden, Roselle does not diluted Roselle liquid for plants with root stress. A diluted Roselle solution works best when plants show signs that their root zone is struggling, especially in containers, small raised beds, or after long periods of intense summer heat. For example, the plant may still be getting watered, but the leaves begin drooping slightly in the afternoon, the soil dries out too quickly, growth slows down, or the roots have not fully recovered after transplanting. In situations like this, some gardeners use leftover Roselle calyxes, or the remains from making tea, soak them in clean water for several hours or up to 1 day, then dilute the liquid until it becomes only a very pale pink. Some may also add a small amount of very diluted worm casting tea or compost tea before watering around the base of the plant. This liquid contains mild organic acids, polyphenols, anthocyanins, and dissolved organic material. Once it reaches the root zone, it can provide a light food source for soil microbes, especially in soil that has become dry, biologically weak, or low in organic matter. As microbial activity improves around the roots, the soil often holds moisture more steadily, roots become less isolated inside hard, dry soil, and plants may recover more gently without immediately depending on strong fertilizers. Even after harvest, Roselle is not finished yet. In American permaculture, there is a fairly common concept called a dynamic biomass plant. These are plants that grow quickly and continuously produce leaves and organic material that can return to feeding the soil. Comfrey is one of the most famous examples. Many gardeners cut comfrey leaves and spread them around other plants almost like a form of living green fertilizer. Roselle is not as powerful as comfrey when it comes to mineral accumulation, but in hot climates, it shares one very important characteristic. It can produce a surprisingly large amount of biomass in a short period of time. What makes Roselle interesting is that even after harvesting the red calyxes, the plant still leaves behind a large amount of stems and branches. Instead of pulling the plant out and throwing it away, many homestead gardeners chop it into compost, dry and shred it for a worm bin, or use it as a softer carbon layer for the soil. Because Roselle stems contain a good amount of fiber, they become useful organic material once chopped into smaller pieces. That is why many people do not see Roselle as only a tea plant. They see it as a plant that provides both food and raw material for the garden, meaning that even after harvest season, the plant continues contributing to the soil system instead of turning into waste. Common mistakes that cause Roselle to grow poorly. Roselle is not a difficult plant to grow, but it can struggle surprisingly easily if planted at the wrong time or in the wrong location. One of the most common mistakes in the United States is planting too late. Roselle needs a long, warm season to fully develop its stems, flower properly, and eventually produce the red calyxes. If seeds are started too close to the end of summer, the plant may still look green and healthy, but never have enough time to produce many calyxes before temperatures begin cooling down. The second major problem is insufficient sunlight. Roselle performs best with around 6 to 8 hours of direct sun every day. In shaded corners, the plant often becomes tall and leggy, produces fewer side branches, fewer flowers, and smaller calyxes. Another common issue is poor drainage. Roselle likes moisture, but it does not tolerate constantly waterlogged soil. Raised beds or loose, well-draining soil usually work much better than heavy compacted soil that stays wet for too long. Finally, many people plant Roselle too close to other crops. A mature plant can spread about 3 feet to 5 feet, so overcrowding can reduce airflow, trap humidity inside the canopy, and increase the chance of fungal problems during humid weather. Roselle and human health. After talking about soil, worms, mulch, and garden ecosystems, we return to the reason most Americans first become interested in Roselle: human health. The red calyxes of Roselle are rich in plant pigments, especially anthocyanins and polyphenols. These compounds create the plant's deep red color and are one reason Roselle is often associated with antioxidant-rich herbal drinks. Another reason Roselle fits well into the American healthy lifestyle trend is that it is naturally caffeine-free, has a refreshing tart flavor, and can easily be served cold as an alternative to sugary soft drinks when diluted properly. At the same time, it is important to be realistic. Roselle is not a medicine or a miracle cure. It is simply a flavorful herbal drink with appealing color, taste, and naturally occurring plant compounds. For many American gardeners, the satisfying part is that the same plant can both support the garden ecosystem and provide ingredients for a healthy homemade drink inside the kitchen. So Roselle is much more than just a plant for making bright red tea. When used thoughtfully, a single Roselle plant can provide drinks, create mulch, feed compost, support root zones, attract beneficial insects, and help a garden function more naturally over time. It does not completely replace fertilizers or pesticides, but it can help a garden become less dependent on outside inputs. And sometimes, a small garden ecosystem can begin with